Lizette Khan has always had a rich vein of tradition when it comes to tennis in the tennis arena. Kevin Anderson at the moment doing South African proud, really seems to be turning up the heat. Even looking at his rankings, he's now in the 20s, 25 at the last ATP rankings. But it really does start at grassroots levels and looking at the juniors. So on the line we have Terry Schweitzer, who is a professional tennis coach. She's also the team coach that for the South African team and has toured with the junior team and has toured with the teams throughout the year on the pathway to being able to qualify in Tunisia next week for the South African zonals and African junior champs. Terry, thank you very much for taking the time to chat to us.
Hi, Lizette. It's a pleasure, and thanks for TSA being represented on Sports SAFM.
Terry, thank you very much. Just tell us a little bit about the qualifications and how it's gone thus far for the South African team.
Yes, right. We actually, there's a whole pathway of qualifying. We've come through the zonals, which is Southern Africa zonals, and then the African Junior Champs, which was played in Nairobi. And from there, we need to qualify for the under 14 for the World Cup, the finals, and the under 16s for the Junior Fed and Davis Cup team. So this year, from the African continent, in the boys, under 14s and under 16s, only 4 teams will be qualifying as one team will represent the continent.
Okay. And
for the girls, 6 teams will be qualifying and as 2 teams will represent Africa.
Looking at the talent that you've seen, let's start with the under 14s and the World Junior Finals. Looking at the contingency and basically the players that you have, how would you say they rank with what's out there in the rest of the world?
Right, it's very tough. The top 16 nations in the World Cup finals are your cream of the crop and your future stars. And we have been there previously, and we last year I was with the under 16s, and we came 7th in the girls and we came 4th in the boys. For the under 14s this year, we have strong teams contending. Our girls actually are going into the number 1 seeds for the under 14s for the qualifying in Tunisia, and the boys will be the number 2 seeds.
It does certainly seem like they're coming in with a very strong background. It's not the first time that they've done this, so it does seem that the South African team does have an opportunity to go further and to build more. What are some of the challenges, though, that they are facing?
Right, well, particularly for the under 14 team, we're going to be qualifying and playing on clay courts at the altitude in Tunisia. So they've been putting in a lot of work. We've from Berlin to the clay court there, and the Gauteng players have been practicing on a clay court at Killarney. So that's probably the biggest challenge. And, it's a great sort of exposure for the players playing as a team, because they play one single of each for the number 1 and 2, and then it will come down to doubles.
Now, that's under 4. Sorry, I didn't get that, Terry.
So then for the under 16s, it's a big advantage for us because we're playing on hard court. And our strongest opposition actually comes from the North Africans who all grew up on clay, so they're the big advantage. So that for the under 16s, we're at a better advantage.
Looking at the under 16s in particular, the winners of the under 16 Junior Fed and Davis Cup qualifying are going to travel to Mexico, where they're going to represent Africa in the finals of the Junior Davis Cup and Junior Federation Cup from the 23rd to the 29th of September. Looking at the team makeup, do you think that they have what it takes to get South Africa there?
Definitely. We've got a strong team going in, particularly for because it's played on hard court and at high altitude, which already suits our guys because they have big serve and volley games and big weapons. So they'll have a pretty good chance.
Now, I know that it's often been said that it's also always good to have a great support structure, and family seems to be one of those great support structures. And uniquely, that we have 2 sets of twins and a third player who is one of a twin in the team this year around. Does that make a difference?
Unique. Yes.
Does that make a difference, though? I mean, looking at support structures when it comes to these youngsters, because they are young. I mean, if you're playing, you're looking at your under 13s, those are still little kids, most of us would be thinking. It takes a lot out of them. How do you deal with that?
Yes, it's actually wonderful to see the twins, both sets, and because they give each other fantastic support. I mean, they really drive each other and push each other, and particularly for the doubles, because they're sort of grown up together, as combinations. So that's a big advantage as well. And, being on the road, I've traveled a lot for the juniors. It's not easy, but they mature very quickly. You teach them, to become independent quite early on. So you'll find that they're probably a lot more independent than your average 12, 13, and 14-year-olds. Because they're pretty worldly with having traveled so often.
Terry, just a last question for SAFM Sports Special. If a parent wants their children or their child to get involved in tennis in South Africa, what are the structures from a developmental perspective that they can go through to see their child basically achieve on a world stage?
Right. Well, first of all, the actual tennis is a late development sport. So the athletic skills that we develop in early age are very, very important. So, some parents may want their kids to specialize and become little tennis stars too young. So it's actually much more important that they play a lot of different sports to develop their athletic skills. And then, from there, they start playing at schools and at clubs and through coaches and develop throughout and start playing at tournaments. But it's good to have a good balance in the early ages and then to start specializing. And once they get to under 12s and under 13s, they start to play, national tournaments and zonals, and then there's a pathway through. And, it's just wonderful that this Kevin Anderson is the role model at the moment because he's come through the same pathway. So it's great that the kids can look up to him.
Terry, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us, and we wish you and the rest of the team all the best, of course, heading into these qualifications, and may you do South Africa proud. That was Terry Schweitzer, professional tennis coach. She has also been basically appointed as one of the coaches for the South African junior tennis team. Like we said, currently underway is